Well, you're never going to find the best jobs to work at home by using Google. I mean, guys, look at me. I just put work at home in Google. Look at, what did I get? Gosh, 4.5 billion websites. Golly, yeah, how you gonna search through that? And all the, most of the stuff here on the beginning pages are people trying to sell you something. You'll be so confused and whatever, and give money to someone to figure this out or whatever. Man, well, first of all, in working at home, don't give money to anybody to find out how to work at home, because you don't have to, Sure, I mean, people will have a good story on why you have to and how great a deal this is. And if it's a deal for that, you have to give them money. That means it's a good deal for them, not you. I mean, and now, see, I think the best jobs for working at home are really in the shared economy, right? And none of them I see in the pages here that are listed on Google. But it just takes effort, and you can't trust the obvious. What they're doing is obvious kind of stuff because they also choose the most popular. So they're looking at things that people think is the most popular answer to this question. So I don't think there's any opportunity in a popularity contest. If everybody's doing it that way, man, that means it's harder to make money that way. You have to find the unusual ways to really find an opportunity. That's what an opportunity is. Something that other people are not doing. If everyone's doing it, that's no longer an opportunity. Everybody's doing it, right? So that's why the logic in these search engines, they want to show you what everybody's doing. No, you want to find out the neat stuff. And that's going to take some work. But, look at stuff like the Google economy. Not the Google, the shared economy. Yeah, it probably is the Google economy. But the shared economy and things like that. How you could get jobs locally, part-time, just at home and stuff like that. There's platforms and websites that don't charge anything. See, these are organizations that don't charge anything and to do this. So it does take work, and we try to help with all that. Just keep watching my videos. They tell you all about this kind of stuff and these kind of opportunities that don't cost money. See, Google is a moneymaker, right? They make $1 gazillion because people want to advertise on Google, right? So I want to get on a front page if I have a money-making scheme for you to work at home, right? Because I'm going to get money from you. And that's how I survive. Google survives. But you're not going to survive if you're paying all these people money. You're out to make money. So don't spend money when you're trying to make money. Duh. That's the dumbest thing to do. Okay, well, here's another reason, and there's many more, why you don't want to ever get involved with a for-profit college. There's a whole bunch of them that went out of business, and they're sticking kids with all the money that they borrowed. They're not getting a degree or anything. But it's interesting to learn from this. There are like 4 or 5 colleges involved with this. It's all part of Corinthian colleges, and the other names they have for them are Everest College, Harold College, and WYO Tech. And they have something like 100 different campuses all over the country and enrolled over 100,000 students that got screwed. But see, now the government is interfering with this, and only because they got government money. See, they get students to borrow money, get loans up their keister, give them the college, and they promise them they'll have all this wealth and happiness if they go to their college, and all they're stuck with is debt. And because they got government money, see, and that's the problem. These big organizations or whatever, an individual student can't compete with these people, and these big for-profit colleges, the data I've seen, 90% of all their money comes from you getting a government loan. Isn't that incredible? And the data on how much they spend on education is nothing compared to traditional college. All their money goes into marketing and all this other kind of stuff. I've seen data that just show that it costs them. An average community college will spend 2 or 3 times more educating a student than one of these for-profit colleges, and it's costing you 10 times more than it would at a community college. So it's nonsense. Okay, but if you got caught up with one of these universities, here's what you do. Okay, the Department of Education has a whole system set up, and they're trying to get money for people, and there's actually laws in the codes now that and it was there, but people didn't use them before, to get your money back because they lied to you about promises, so now, you have these loans and you can't pay them off and everything. So there's help for you for that. So find out about it, and if you go to studentaid.ed.gov and studentaid.ed.gov, and you're looking for the debt relief for Corinthian college students, and it's all these other colleges in there. So, but actually, see that no matter if you're with another college too, you'll learn the laws and the rules that you can maybe take advantage of to get rid of your own debt at maybe some other college. So that's what it is. It's all about this, and they have a hotline too number for people to call that are in trouble with one of these colleges. It's 855-279-6207. 855-279-6207. Actually, I forgot to call it, so I hope it works. But more importantly, the kind of thing, see, there's special laws now because they lied to you when they promised you something and they can't deliver, that you may not be responsible for the debt. So that's why you want to check out. If you can't pay the payments now, because they lied to you, that's another thing you may be able to get out of. So you got to know your rights and all that. These issues become very complicated, and if you're trusting the word of a friend or the person you owe money to trust what they believe the laws are, no, you need an independent party, and that's why the Department of Education is really heavily involved in this, and that's the power. See, they have power over these companies. You don't. You're going to hire a lawyer and spend tens of thousands of dollars, and you still can't beat their lawyers because they do this all day. But here's some data too that they were talking about, in this agreement that says for-profit students pay upfront on average, 4.5 times what they would cost attending a community college. You're paying 4.5 times more, 450% more than at a college. Also, more than 80% of the students at for-profits borrow federal student money to pay for college, while only half the students do that at public universities. So 80% of the students are borrowing money from the government to go to the for-profit universities, and then they have to pay it back. At community colleges, only have to, because it's so cheap they don't have to borrow money. They get a Pell Grant. They get a grant to do it, and they pay for everything. Also about default rates. Ultimately, students at for-profit colleges represent 11% of the total education population, but 44% of the student loans that are defaulted. So in other words, 44% of all student loans that are defaulted are from for-profit universities, but they only represent 11% of the students. So 11% of the students that go to for-profit universities, for-profit, not non-profit, for people that are just to make money, for-profit universities account for 44% of the defaults in student loans. Now that's a clue, isn't it? That's why, I think it's almost immoral what these people do. Sure, they find the law or whatever and skirt the law, but whether it's legal and immoral are two different things, Taking people who don't know their options or whatever and promising all these things that they're going to get all this, and the current administration trying to regulate this more, because you could get a better education for a fraction of nothing at a local community college than what these guys are doing for you. And they overpromise, of course. They spend all their money on marketing. You go and advertise, like you're looking for a grant for college. If you do that, a scholarship or grants, most of it is all financed by these for-profit universities. All their money is going on the internet and marketing money. That's why you put in Google, I'm looking for, a grant to pay for college. Man, you put your name somewhere and you're going to get a call from one of these people. Who say, come to my college and pay $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 or whatever, and I'll be your best friend until you get the loan to pay me, and then you'll never see me again. So be wary, be careful. Boy, it hurts my heart when I see all this stuff that's going on, about these for-profit universities. Yeah. So stay away if you can. All the new stuff that's happening in our country, like the new economy is creating more income opportunities and less traditional jobs. I'm even afraid to say the word. But that's what's happening. Look at this. Uber. Have you heard of Uber? That's a taxi cab company, but it's not a taxi cab company. It's people with their own cars and an app that gives you a ride anywhere, anytime, within seconds. And it's no hassle, no fuss, or whatever. Now, that company just went out and raised an extra $1.5 to $2 billion. And now this company has been around for 5 years, is worth over $50 billion. Okay, so you have a brand new company, 5 years, doesn't even own a car, provides transportation to everybody in the country and even the world, and they're worth $50 billion. Okay, now look at this data. Because I don't even know what $50 billion is. I haven't been in Washington so long, a billion doesn't sound like much. But $50 billion. Okay, if you look at the old economy, here's some data on the new economy versus old economy. Uber, okay, they're worth $50 billion. Okay, now Federal Express is not even worth $50 billion. $45 billion. Okay, so Uber with $50 billion, they have about 2,000 employees. 2,000 employees, $50 billion. Okay, Federal Express worth $45 billion. They have 300,000 employees. Wow, they're giving jobs to a lot of people. But where's the country going? This is the new stuff. Uber, platforms, things like this, share economy. That's where that's creating jobs. But only 2,000? No. It's creating income opportunities for over 1 million people already. So if I have a car and hey, I have a free afternoon, I'll say I'm ready to take rides for people and say, oh, here's one. You get notice. Hey, some guy over here around the corner wants a ride. Okay, I'll give him a ride and I make money. His credit card is already on the platform. The company Uber takes care of all the insurance, all the stuff that you have to worry about as a small business. You don't. And you only want to work 3 hours or 10 hours or whatever it is, 5 days, whatever. People are making like $90,000 a year just doing this, being a taxi. And a normal taxi cab driver lucky to make $30,000 or whatever. That's why it's just a changing world, and the income opportunities are going to be different. You're not going to get a traditional job because more of look at 1 million jobs. FedEx only created 300,000. So 1 million people are getting money this way on the new economy without having to get up every day and be there on time and not take a long lunch with your girlfriend if you want. That's what's so neat about these new jobs. They're just so flexible. And you need more money, you work more. But too nice to work today, I want to play golf. And you don't have to account to anybody. You're a grown-up. If you don't need the money, then you don't have to work. And that's what's neat. What's going on. So that's just right. Another big company like this now is Airbnb. These are the hotel people, that don't have any hotels, and they're worth $25 billion. Okay. Now Hilton Hotels is only $10 billion. Now, Airbnb's been around 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. Hilton Hotel's been around 50 years or more. And Hilton employs like 80,000 people. And Airbnb, who's worth twice as much, over 2.5 times as much as Hyatt, they employ only 2,000. So you have 80,000 people at Hyatt, 2,000 at Airbnb. But over 1 million people are making money from this opportunity. Like we have a little condo down in Washington, D.C. we don't use all the time, and we put it on Airbnb, and it's wonderful. And actually, the people who stay in our condo down there, they treat it better than we give it to them. People, in the shared economy kind of thing, instead of going to a hotel, I mean, with Mr. Hyatt, they don't care what Mr. Hyatt thinks about them. At least I don't when I stay at a Hyatt. I trash the room or whatever. I'm not apologetic or whatever. And you stay at Airbnb, somebody else's home or apartment, man, you're making the bed. At least I am, and the people who stay with us do that. And it's just a whole different world. But 1 million people, actually I was just reading on the other day, it's 2 million people are making money that way. Right. And it's flexible money, and you be your own person. Now there's even creating other opportunities. People who manage Airbnb. So, somebody has an extra room, a home or apartment or whatever, they don't want to do it. Man, there's now, you can start your own business with no capital, no money at all, and manage it for them. You put it on the internet for them or whatever. And that's what's so cool about what's going on now. The new economy is creating income opportunities. So don't look for jobs, look for income opportunities, because it's not like having a business, you need payroll, you need all this kind of stuff. No, it's a way to make somebody else does all the bureaucratic nonsense and you just do the work when you want to and get the money. That's the new share economy. Well, the financial industries are changing a whole lot. I mean, banks are on the way out the door almost. Actually, they're shrinking because there's new internet stuff that has taken over that. They don't have the same bureaucracy and overhead as traditional banks, and they're getting the money to people faster, cheaper, and everything. Like now, PayPal is giving small business loans to small businesses that use PayPal. And listen to this: they don't even check a credit check. They give you a business loan, and you get funds within minutes. But you have to have an account with PayPal. And what they do is they base it on your sales. So if you're using PayPal to process credit cards and things like that, to have your customers pay you, and you have a bad month, they'll lend you the money and they'll just take it out for future months as you get an income. Now, also, if your money goes down, your income goes down over the next 4 months, they won't take out as much to pay them back. So it sounds like a lot more flexible and a lot more reasonable, than banks. I mean, the interest rates are still, it seems like a high than, getting it from your uncle or somebody like that. But check them out. And also remember, check out other peer-to-peer lending sites for small business. I mean, here's an article on simpledollars.com. The best small business peer-to-peer. This is when people put in money on the website so you get a business loan. And depending on your credit rating and everything, it's going to be a lot cheaper than banks. So Lending Club, Funding Circle, Prosper, they're the big ones in that peer-to-peer lending. And there's also Small Business Loans Direct on. So, I mean, you shop around as long as they don't cost you any money to apply. And most of the good people won't. Like Foundation, On Deck, Cabbage, KBBAGE. So there's a whole lot of other options for getting money besides crowdfunding money and things like that. But there's also a crowdfunding platform for business loans. Like they're around for just business loans to people in neighborhoods. So neighborhoods have a crowdfunding platform to get people and businesses in their neighborhood, money for their business, at good interest rates, and the local people, man, want to support local businesses. So that's another way of getting great loans from people in the community, and not some jerk up in New York who doesn't care about you or the business or anything. So the whole landscape is changing on getting money for anything. So keep watching, here or anywhere. Just keep watching. Okay, screw IT and get into data. Data everywhere and not a thought to think. Man, we're overloaded with information. I mean, I think like in the last month or something, we created more information in this world than we did in the previous 10,000 years or whatever. I mean, it's just crazy. So we need people to analyze that. That's right. Now listen to this data. Okay, Glassdoor, which is a big U.S. recruiting agency, they reported that the average salary for a data scientist is $118,000, okay, versus $64,000 for a skilled programmer. So that's guy writing the code versus the person thinking about what to do with all this data. And actually McKinsey & Company, which is a big, hotshot consulting group, predicts that in 2018, the United States alone faces a shortage of almost 200,000 data scientists, and there's 1.5 million shortage of managers with skills to understand data. So that's what the world is coming. We're creating all this kind of data and everything. I just finished a book called, I think it's Social Physics, and they're analyzing our behavior based on all the apps and the social media and everything. And the data sets they're using, 10 million data sets, occurrences is nothing now in the data that's available. So it's not like interviewing 100 people or 1,000 or something. We're talking about millions and millions. We get data to make decisions on this. So that's what's amazing. And it's going to keep growing. So that's why, well, how do you take advantage of this? Well, there's big universities, probably now you get a PhD in this subject or whatever. But more importantly, man, you just don't spend a lot of money on education because there's alternatives for free, or next to nothing. Check where the best place to start is your local community college. Don't don't Google data scientists or whatever, because people are there trying to, cash in on your worry about not being a good data scientist. And what you should do instead is contact your local community college, and talk to someone there about what skills, maybe just taking an analytics course, a statistics course, a course on spreadsheets or anything. So you're trained in this kind of skill because that's what you're going to do. And why pay hundreds or thousands of dollars when you get it for free or next to nothing, from something like that? It's or even a MOOC course, or now online there's courses that you could take, for nothing, and they're legitimate courses, and then they even charge you only if they take the test, and stuff like that. There's so many other ways to learn these kind of skills that you will need. And don't get sucked into the traditional education system unless you really want to, or for some reason. I guess it's still good somewhere, but check out the alternatives first. And that's the important thing, because you too could be a data scientist, just like me. Actually, I studied data back in the 70s. I got an MBA in computerized management information systems. That's what I was trying to do, to get data to top management to make decisions. And actually what's happened, I saw that the computers at that time was just handling internal data, accounting and stuff like that. And the real data we needed was external, what's outside the organization. And now, that wasn't computerized before, but now it is. And that's why we can make a lot more decisions based on that data. But you still gotta follow your heart. You get the data, analyze it, see what's good or bad, and then follow that heart. That's gonna help you make the tough decisions in life. Okay, now high school kids, while they're still in high school, could get grants to take classes at local colleges. Isn't that great? Yeah, and they're now giving out grants to high school kids who are, accelerated, and want to also take some college credit classes while they're finishing high school. That's what happened in our country now. There's no time limit on when you do stuff anymore. And there's something like 1.5 million kids doing this, and it's like 82% of the high schools participate in this dual program. So while you're taking courses at high school, hey, I think I'd like to take, world history at the local college, and you feel good enough to do it, you can try it. And now there's grants for that to make sure more people do something like that. And actually looking at that from the Department of Education, they're giving out $20 million just the first year they're doing this, and they're going to give out $20 million for people to do this, or students, kids to do this. So if you have a student, or a student, a high school student, remind them they can do this, and it's usually the local community college or local university or whatever it is, and see, they'll charge you. Sometimes it's free, but other times they'll have to charge you tuition. So now when they charge you tuition, you can get a grant, a Pell Grant, the same, Pell Grant money, but this is extra money they're putting aside just for this. And by the way, I was reading, with the Department of Education that Obama increased Pell Grants 70%. That's how much more money that people are going out. And that really means, because, that is a they have to give you the money as long as you apply, So that's why more people are applying and going to school like that. And make sure you don't go to one of these expensive colleges if you're short on money, because the worst thing that happens is that people, are graduating college with all this debt, and that's nonsense, because then you're not buying stuff, you're taking jobs you hate just to pay off your debt and all this kind of stuff, and it's a tough life that way. So that's why you use the inexpensive stuff here. You can get 2 years of local community college for next to nothing, and then go on to a bigger university or go overseas. Realize overseas you go for nothing. So it costs you $3,000 in plane fare, but you're going to save $40,000 a year in tuition. Yeah, there's universities and it's all in English. There's like 3,000 programs in Europe alone, to do things like that. So there's always options, and I think we just get trapped into competing with the Joneses, what the people next door are doing or whatever. And that's the problem with Google. You go into Google and say, "What's the best university?" It's the people who are spending millions of dollars, and they're not going to tell you about the free one, that you don't know about, because they're not advertising. So the people that are getting your money, don't forget, are advertising heavily on the internet, figuring out, maybe it's not an ad, but they figure out how to manipulate the system so their opportunity or their website is on the first page or the first couple of pages. So that's the problem with Google and searching. So you have to expand your mind, and not just believe that, "Oh, I found it on the internet, so it must be right." It ain't. Or it's stuff that's better stuff that you don't know about. So keep expanding their mind, and make sure you check your local community college or your state university. Man, that's the best education deal in the world. Okay, I think there's one industry that better watch out, and that's banks and all the financial services. Man, they spent the last 30, 40 years in our country making a whole bunch of money. I think people made more money in that industry than any before. And what did they provide? They didn't build anything, right? They were just middlemen, and taking money and selling it to you as much as they could get. Well, now people are learning their game. Particularly these big financial institutions are huge overhead. These people make billions of dollars in this business, and they all have a assistant vice president, the vice president. Man, when I grew up, bankers made nothing. Now they're the richest people in the world, it seems, because it's all money business, and they figured out all this, paraphernalia that nobody understands, and they don't even understand. That's why most of it crashed a couple of years ago. Nobody really understands it. They're all trying to outguess the other idiots in the business. So now, because of the internet, things are able to work better. So financial services are able to work better. And when you cut out the middleman, you save so much money and time and effort and overhead. I mean, just like you go to a bank, right? And they give you 1% on the money, right? Or if you're lucky nowadays, right? So, and they lend it out to somebody. A small business comes or something, and they charge them 12 or 13%. 1% you're getting, 13% the other customer has to pay. Who's getting all that stuff in the middle? The bank. Okay? If we get rid of all those people in the middle, what happens? I'd be happy with 2%. The business would be happy paying 4%, right? Everybody wins, except the banks, And that's what's happening in the financial services industry. Now, here's a new platform, as they call them. Platform is another word for websites that, like a shopping center for a cause or something like that. It's where all the transactions happen. See, and somebody could do this without having a teller, without having overhead, without having all this kind of stuff, and fancy restaurants to go to for lunch and all that kind of stuff. All they need is a website, and it handles all the transactions and everything. And it's for loans for young people who just got out of college in the last year, 2, 3, 4 years. Young people, under 30 years old, let's say, that are looking to get loans. And see, banks won't touch these people because they don't have a track record, right? Well, this guy who started this website that lends money to people, young people that have college degrees, found out that at the Federal Reserve Board, they have better results in paying off loans almost than anybody else. So they're great risks, So that's what they're doing. they're lending money cheaper, better, or whatever to people with college degrees than anybody else. Young people, not old people. You're 50 years old and got a house and all that kind of stuff. Bank be happy to lend you money. But a young person got nothing. Butska. Besides a degree and maybe a job. They're not going to give you money. I remember at that age, boy, getting the money was like pulling teeth. Never got any. And so that's what he said. Hey, the Federal Reserve, you got data, big data. That's why you can prove things with data now. This really works. And so he went to the Federal Reserve Board, look at the state, said, young people pay their bills better than anybody else. So he has a special website, give you a loan if you have a college degree, and it'll be cheaper, faster, whatever, than anywhere else. So take a look. And just to start, watch the interview because it's just really learning about what's going on in life. The old traditional things are going away, and they're causing so much problems anyway. We have to get rid of them. We have to find a new way to live and a new way to grow. The world is certainly different, and we all have to change. So start learning. It's going to change with or without you, right? And I heard something once. The only people who like change are busy cashiers, if we still have cashiers, that need money and change, or babies with dirty diapers. They want to be changed too. The rest of us, man, we go kicking and screaming before we want change, right? So watch this and learn about what's changing. Well, David Gerard of Upstart.com. And man, I can't even start up my computer. And you're starting this company that's giving millennials in the country, so they don't get screwed by banks anymore. You're unscrewing millennials.
It's not been our slogan, but it could be a good candidate.
Yeah, that's a little tough for investors, but I could get away with it. No, it's incredible. It's really a peer-to-peer lending site, so you have private investors who make more money on millennials, providing loans at cheaper that they could get from credit card companies, banks, if they could get them at all, or likely anywhere else, right? And you do it quick. Quick!
Yeah, that's the idea. Is it takes you just a couple of minutes to get a rate, and if you decide you like the loan and provide the documentation, you can get your money the next day.
Wow. And I tried it before we spoke, and my computer was working. For those who don't realize that we've been screwing around trying to make the Skype work on my computer. But so your website works so well. Really, in a minute or two, I got a rate. I wanted $30,000, and I filled in all of it, and within a few minutes, I got a rate. And then I just send over some documents later, right? And talk to somebody for a few minutes, and the next day I got money in the bank. Huh?
That's the idea. We try to make it as simple, as fast, and as streamlined as possible.
And I don't even have to dress up in a suit to go see a banker. Huh?
No, you don't have to walk in and sit across the counter from the guy in the suit or anything like that. You can do it right from the privacy of your...
And you don't even have a suit on. And you own the place. God, that's terrific. But it really, what you found is that like the Federal Reserve study that said, God, millennials are better credit risk than like anybody else in our country.
That's right. Young people actually default less on credit cards and on loans. Yeah. People in their 20s default less often than do people in their 30s, 40s, or 50s. So we found it to be very strange that they have a harder time getting a loan.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, but who knows, man? Financial services industry, they've been at this game for a long time. So now with the internet, you guys are changing the landscape and making it better and faster and cheaper and actually. A lot of millennials have credit card debt, and that's the one thing they could use with you guys to just knock that rate down to, half probably most of the time, and get rid of it a lot faster.
Yeah, that's right. People very commonly come out of school earlier in their career. They have student debt, they have credit card debt, and they want to get on the other side of that as quickly as they can. So, getting a loan that has a fixed end date to it, is a far lower interest rate. And the result of paying it results in a higher FICO score for you later, so it has all these good ramifications.
So in other words, by getting money from you to pay off my credit card debt, not only am I paying off my credit card debt, I'm getting a better credit score so I can buy a house or a car someday.
Yeah, those things that are down the road next, they're going to be cheaper because your credit score is better, and that's the idea of just building better credit over time.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. And you guys have just been at it for a few years, and I mean, you're just like going bananas every year. It's quadrupling or whatever, the amount of money loans. And you have nobody, no bad loans.
Well, no, I mean, we've done a lot of work to make sure we can identify people that are able and capable of paying back their loans. So it's really obviously central to any kind of lender that it's very easy to give out money.
Anybody will take it.
Will pay it back. So
That's
we
the
put
key.
energy into that.
Yeah. And so then the documents, I mean, so it's what, like whether pay stubs, like that kind of stuff, or that they send in, and you could do that electronically. And I'm reading reviews on your site. Everybody said it was so simple to do, to send in the document. So you're really an IT company that's making it easy, not a money company trying to make it hard and no idea what the hell IT is for.
Yeah, no, our team came from Google, so I think the whole notion of simplicity, speed is in our DNA, and we just turn that into a site where it's fast, it's easy, it's for you to get a loan. And it is important that we verify who you are, that you have the income, that you went to the schools you said you went to, but we make that very, very easy for you.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, it's Upstart.com, Upstart. Now, I went to school, a lot of degrees, but I still can't spell for damn. So I spell everything for people like me out there. It's Upstart.com, and it costs nothing, right, to put in an application, see what the the APR is and what they'll charge, and you go to these other sites and see what they're going to do, and it's easy to match anybody. And you guys, particularly if you're a millennial, it's probably going to be less, right?
That's the hope.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dave. Sorry for my technical incompetence earlier, but we got this, and people should know about you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay, watch this next interview, because now you'll see how possible it is. Now I just think greater than any time in the history of the world to start a business anywhere you want to be in the world, and solve problems for people and make money at it, all because of the internet. Man, we couldn't do anything like this before. Yeah. And you don't need any money to do it. That's what's so neat about it. Now, this guy actually used to work for the government. Now he wanted to go to Asia and live there, and he started a business. Really, and it's not helping consumers in Asia or here or whatever. It's helping other businesses, that use the internet. Everybody uses the internet, and it's really for translators. He found out a little niche where how he helps translators, professional translators. So what he's doing is helping other small businesses with theirs. So it's a business to business. See, you could do business to consumers, business to government, or business to businesses, and that's what he's doing now. And that's what's neat about business to business. It's less price sensitive. If you're selling to consumers, they always want the best price. Man, for businesses, they just want to solve a problem. They don't care how much it costs. It costs $100 or $300. It probably doesn't make a whole lot of difference to them. And that's what's so neat. And how he did it. God, just sitting just behind a computer halfway across the world. And he says he's going to come back, and live in Florida eventually and whatever, because of what he wanted to do. But boy, I mean, to have the lifestyle you want, in life, to live the way you want in life, it's now more possible, I think, than ever before. You don't need, a whole lot of money, or little to none even. People are starting businesses with no money, or expertise or contacts. You just figure it out. That's what life is all about, figuring out yourself. Don't hire experts. They'll tell you what to do yesterday. They don't know about what's inside you and how to take the best what's inside you and give it to the world. And that's where you'll make the most money. It may or may not work, but who cares? It doesn't cost any money to find out. So watch how he did it and learn from this, because, man, it's so much neater to live this way. Well, Tom Hoare, boy, but more importantly, it's precisiontranslationtools.com. And you have this great crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo, and it seems like you're the first I've done like 700 interviews like this, and most of them is like for consumers products, just for consumers. But you figured out how to use crowdfunding almost like a business to business, because your product is really professional translators who are in business, aren't they?
You're right. it is a business to business software tool. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
But our customers are professional translators.
Yeah.
And
That's, I mean,
they do a
I
good
think
job.
you're starting a trend now, how to use this, crowdfunding tool for a business to business. I mean, why not? You're doing it successfully, and you're learning how to market your product so much better by just doing it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the whole goal for our campaign was to learn how to communicate with, find, identify, and communicate with our customer base. And we've had an amazing response and return on our experience. Yeah.
Because it seems like your option was like to do a market study, and you're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars some consultant who's going to do a market study for you.
That's not in my budget.
Right. So
Yeah, the Indiegogo platform is actually perfect for us because we have translators, potential customers all over the world. I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. Somebody who needs to translate from English to French doesn't necessarily have to live in England or the U.S. or France. They sometimes live in Australia.
or they want to translate from German to French. That your system does that too, correct?
It translates pretty much any language. It really depends on what the translator brings to the table.
Ah,
The translator needs a history of their own work.
I see.
And our software takes that history, that database, if you will, of their own work, and it converts it into an engine that they use right on their own Windows.
So in other
desktop.
words, when you say their own work, so the original document they're translating and their output of the translation, is that what you take in your database?
It's not my database; it's their database.
Yes,
The
I mean,
translator
but
doesn't-
to
it doesn't-
create
it
the
doesn't-
algorithm or whatever.
Yes, exactly. The translator doesn't normally work with a word processor. Okay,
Mhm.
they typically work in a very customized, very specialized editing tool that opens up a document and then saves the original
I see.
source language text,
Right.
and it takes the translated text that they created and it saves it in a database,
Mm-hmm.
and then they can reuse that database again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
And what we've done is we've added software that takes that database that they can reuse, and it creates an engine that is not limited to what's in the database. It actually generates any translation
Wow.
that can be translated from within that database.
And it seems from reading the literature, it seems like it really senses the style of the translator too. That so it doesn't look like on my Kindle this computer reading the stuff out.
Very true. Very true. It takes on the personality of the translator because it learns from the translator's work. Okay? So if the translator has 4 or 5 years, 3 years of their own work that they've done themselves, it learns only from that. It can't reach out and find something else that's not there because it doesn't have to be connected to the internet.
Wow.
Okay? So if a translator has a lot of times translators will swap and trade their databases amongst each other.
Oh, really? Oh,
Okay?
cool.
Yeah, and so if they've done that, it will learn from whatever the translator gives
Wow.
it.
So this is intelligent, computer intelligent design or whatever you call it. I mean, the computers are learning from the words. I mean, and they get better at it.
The boring way of saying it's machine learning, artificial intelligence.
I
Let's
see.
not go there. This is just a way that a translator can use what they've already done in the past to help them work faster
Wow.
in their current work.
Yeah. And what I can't get over too is the price. I mean, this is on Indiegogo is like less than $350, and it seems like this kind of stuff was, just outrageous to most small business translators. I would think. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
When I first started in this part of my career, about 8 years ago, okay, this kind of software would run on a big grid, a big network of computers would work together, and to convert a database of translations into this engine that makes it work might take 50 computers working for 2 weeks.
Wow! Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what happens in computers? there's two things you can be guaranteed is going to happen with computers. They get smaller, they get faster, they get cheaper.
Yeah.
So that's three things, okay? So in the 10 years since this software
I
came
see.
out, it's gotten better and faster.
I
okay?
see. So,
And we work with some universities that actually create the software for academic research. And we take their work and we commercialize it and bring it to the desktop of the computer, of a translator's computer.
Wow. No, I mean, that's what I would think. It's just, phenomenal. It used to be out of reach for anybody. And you're making it, and I'm sure the translation business, I mean, there's not a whole lot of big company, Fortune 500 companies in it. A majority of it, I would think, individual translators, small businesses. Is that correct?
80% of all of the translation companies out there that are measured by some of the analysts, the people that study this kind of thing, 80% of them have less than 5 people.
Wow. Well, that's a big market. So that's less
than 5 people.
Right.
And so you add to that the individual translator that sits at their own desktop as a freelance translator at home. The market is huge. And so how do you communicate with such a fragmented, dispersed market? Social media has been our saving grace in this. We've put the word out through social media. The social media points to the Indiegogo campaign. People see the Indiegogo campaign. At first, our audience said, "Well, why are you using Indiegogo? It sounds strange." Okay, and the answer was we wanted think about it. You're an individual translator. You work at home, but you're working with people halfway around the world because you're working for an agency or another customer halfway around the world. Trust is really important on both sides of the equation. And so we said, we want you, our customer, our potential customer, we want you to be able to look at this campaign and have absolute transparency so that if you commit your money, you know where it goes.
Yeah, it's sort of like authenticity of who you are and what you're doing. I mean, it's like having your product in Neiman Marcus to buy versus.
And secondly, there's some oversight. Indiegogo, we have some obligations to Indiegogo by using their platform, and they look at us and they say, "Hey, look, you promised this. We're going to hold you to your promise." So the translator has a third party that can actually help be their advocate to make sure that we stay.
Well, now another thing I was thinking about is that professional translators know how bad like Google Translate is for doing any kind of real work. I would think most of them, but the average person doesn't. So, how do we educate the rest of the world that your translator is not a Google Translate? That I know 5 words in Chinese, and Google Translate messes those up most of the time.
That's Google is great for what it's designed for. Great. It's designed to help people who are not translators to be able to at least get the gist or understanding of what's happening. Okay, good enough that they can search for something on the internet and assist with that process. Our software is really a tool for professionals, much like a smartphone camera is for everybody to use. But the Nikon that a professional photographer uses sitting at the goal line of the Super Bowl he uses a professional equipment. So we're making that professional equipment for professionals.
But you get a Nikon camera, you could spend 10 grand on this thing. But that's what's so neat about your item. For less than $350, you got this on Indiegogo. That's wonderful for such a powerful tool. So if people want to find out about it, even if the campaign's over, we can still order from you, correct?
Yes, we are about ready to cross the threshold, and Indiegogo has a special feature that when we hit our goal of $6,500, we can convert the campaign into what's called an in-demand status.
I see.
By popular demand.
Right, exactly.
So by popular demand, the in-demand status means we'll keep the campaign open, and people can continue to experience the benefits of the discounts we're offering in advance of our launch. Our launch is going to be in January 2016.
I see. Well, wonderful. So right now to get in on this is precisiontranslationtools.com. Go there, see all of Tom's work, and what he's been spending a career doing. I mean, you're not some fly-by-night who decided to get the translation business. You've been doing this your life, and thank you for doing all this great work and getting it down to a reasonable price, to have a professional product at a reasonable price. So many people like to gouge professionals, and it's nice that you're very price sensitive. So thank you for your work, Tom. Take it up.
Thank you for the interview. I really appreciate it.
You bet. And stay warm out there in Thailand.
Thank you.
Take care.